10 Top of African Weakness Military. Diesen, Burkina Faso. Founding Contours. Origins. The Armed Forces of Burkina Faso were formed following independence from France in 1960, then the Republic of Upper Volta. They evolved from colonial security units and were periodically reorganized through successive governments. Historical background. Burkina Faso's military has been politically active throughout its post-colonial history, including coups and popular revolutions, e.g., Thomas Sankara's 1983 revolution. Since the 2010s, Burkina Faso has faced a severe insurgency largely connected to Sahelian jihadist groups. The worsening security environment has prompted multiple coups, reconfigurations of command, and heavy operational demands on the military. The strain of continuous counterinsurgency operations, losses and budget limits have affected morale, readiness and professional capacity. Current status and issues. The armed forces are heavily engaged in internal counterterrorism and territorial defense across the country, but capability gaps, particularly in air surveillance, logistics and secure communications, reduce effectiveness. Frequent political changes complicate long-term modernization and civilian oversight. Douvi, Senegal. Founding as origins. Senegal's armed forces trace their formal reorganization to independence in 1960, with many officers and structures shaped by French military doctrine and training inherited from colonial times. Historical background. Post-independence. Senegal maintained a relatively stable civil-military relationship compared with many neighbors. The country contributed to UN peacekeeping missions and retained French defense cooperation for decades. Recently, 2024-25, political shifts and a new administration pursuing greater sovereignty led to major changes in defense posture and ended France's permanent troop presence in 2025. A significant development for Senegal's force, posture and regional security. Cooperation. Current status and issues. Senegal historically had a moderately capable professional force for regional standards, but still modest relative to larger African militaries. Recent French withdrawals and policy changes push Senegal toward greater self-reliance and new partnerships, which will reshape capabilities and training pipelines. Oitu, Mauritania. Founding as origins. Mauritania's national armed forces developed after independence from France in 1960, initially inheriting a small set of colonial-era structures and expanding to face desert and border security needs. Historical background. Mauritania's forces were shaped by the country's harsh desert geography and by regional conflicts such as the Western Sahara War, 1970s-80s, during which France, Argentina in the 1970s, later China and others, and the air-ground components were configured largely for patrolling, counterinsurgency and border